Hello lovelies, welcome to this video. So in this video we're going to talk about how to make a senator top. As you have here, I have already cut out my piece that I want to work with for the front and the back, and I already cut it out based on the measurement that I have. Now this senator top is for a female. Okay, yes, it's for a female, and you can also apply this technique for a male. Yes, so I'm using the technique used for the male senator wear for this dress that I'm making right now. So as you can see, the back and the front are not equal. I cut them to be unequal because I want the shoulder line to be seamless. So this will become the shoulder line without the seam, whereby this seam drops down towards the front. So here becomes our new shoulder line. All right, so how did I do that to get my length? Now, to get your total length, before you consider getting your length, all right, when you are cutting out the front, if you're cutting it out differently, you're going to consider how many inches you want the seam to come down by. Okay, so I am making this a total of one quarter. It's just coming down by one quarter. That's all I am working. That's what I'm working with. So, but if you still want it to come down by 1.5 or 2 inches, that means the difference between the front and the back will become double of that. Okay, so as mine came down by 1/4 of an inch, that means the difference between my front and my back is 2.5 inches. So if I want to work with 3 inches, that means it's coming down by 1.5. So 1.5 times 2 will give me 3 inches. Then the difference between the front and my back will be 3 inches. So that's how you calculate this part. Then how to determine your length? Now, to determine your length, what you have to do is this seam line here. What you're working with, I'm working with 1/4, right? So whatever the total length of my dress is going to be, I'm going to take out that 1/4 because to be taken to the back will have to occupy that space for the front, right? It's going to be replaced. Yes, that's the word, replaced by the back. Okay, so you take it out and replace it to the back. All right, so I am supposed to be working with the total length of 26 inches. So this 26 inches, I added an extra 2 inches for the hemline, okay, for the down opening. To get the width, the required width you're going to work with, you are going to divide the hip by 4, and mine gave me 8.75. Okay, so the 8.75 that I have for my, let's keep the tape this way. Okay, so 8.75 for the hip measurement, right? You're going to be adding extra 1 inch for ease, so it's going to be a total of 4 inches around the dress for the ease. Okay, then you're going to add extra 1 inch for your seam allowance and extra 1 inch for the fold in of your opening. You know, there's going to be a slit by the side, so, and you need to fold in that slit, all right, to hide the edges of the fabric. So you're going to add extra 1 inch for doing that. So after the whole calculation, I have 8.75 for my hip divided by 4. Added 1 inch for ease, 9.75, and 1 inch for the seam allowance, 10.75, an extra 1 inch for folding off my slit. So I have almost 12 inches. That's how I came about the width of this dress. Now the ease depends on you. You can make your ease 2 inches. When you make it 2 inches, that means you're going to have a total of 2 times 4, because we fold our fabric in 4 places, in 4 pieces. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4. So 2 by 4 is going to give you 8. That means you're going to have a total ease of 8 inches. If you don't want as much ease, you can make it 1.5, you can make it 1 inch like I did. Some people also work with half an inch to give them 2 inches at the end of the day. So it all depends on how much ease you want for the senator wear, because you know there's not going to be a zipper at the back. It will only have an opening at the center front or at the shoulder point. Okay, now let's dive into the cutting of this dress. So now the first thing you want to do is to get your points. Now we need to take note of the beginning. Where is it going to be? All right, you know we're working with 2.5 here, so you're going to look for the midpoint for this, and that's one quarter. So I am going to look for that midpoint. You can also do eye measurements and escape all this. Just put your ruler, eye measurements. Okay, here it becomes my starting point. That's my shoulder line. Now you're going to find the points, and of course my shoulder to armhole. So I'm going to mark the shoulder to my armhole point. Now shoulder to my armhole point is that's 7.5 inches. All right, I'm going to add half inch to that. So my shoulder to my armhole will be 8 inches, and to my bust point is 10 inches. You don't actually need the bust point. You can work with the armhole for this dress. Then you're going to mark your waistline. The waistline is 17 inches. So these remaining points here, that should be like a sloper for us. So I'm going to square up the lines. So I've squared up my lines. So next I'm going to input my shoulder measurement. The shoulder is 15 divided by 2. Okay, 15 divided by 2 is 7.5. I'm going to add extra half inch seam allowance for the attachment of the sleeve to the shoulder, to the armhole line rather. So 7.5 plus half inch will give me 8 inches. So whatever I mark here on the front opening here, up here, I'm going to mark it at the back also. So that's 8. I'll come here, I'll still mark the same 8 inches. Also come to the armhole line and mark the same 8 inches. Then you're going to square up this line with your ruler. So when you're done squaring up the line, we're going to set that aside, and we're going to come to our neck points. Now we're going to open up the neck line. And to open up the neckline, you have to take note that the neck opening for a senator dress or a senator wear is like a turtleneck. So it's not going to be wide in width and in length. So you're going to come down in length. Length of 3 inches is usually the standard. So you can take a neck depth of 3 inches or 3.5 inches, or as close as 4, depends on the neck circumference of the person. So but the width is what you should be very, very cautious about. So I am going to work with 2 1/4. You can also work with 2.5. But whatever the width you want to take, let it not be equal to the length you took. Instead, let the length be more. So I took 3 inches here, so I can take 2 1/4 or 2 1/2. So I'm going to work with 2 1/4. Okay, work with 2 1/4. So everybody's neck measurement differs. I'm going to use my ruler now to create a curve. So everybody's neck measurement differs, so it depends on what you are working with, the measurement you are working with. So I am marking this. I'm still going to cross check if this will give me the accurate. That ruler is not giving me the curve I want. Okay, so I'm still going to calculate if this will give me the accurate neck measurement I'm going to be working with later. So I am looking for this neck opening so that I can create my shoulder drop from it. Now I'm going to come down by 1 inch. Remember, our shoulder is around this point, right? Our shoulder line is here, but you're still going to drop the front and you're still going to drop the back. So I'm dropping the front by 1 inch. You're going to connect this to this. So you connect this. Also, you come to the back point, that's the back piece or your back pattern. What you're only going to look for here is the neck width here, and we marked 2 1/4. You're going to mark that. If you guys can see this. So after marking your 2 1/4, you're still going to come to this line and drop by 1 inch. You drop by 1 inch, you still roll it. Minding my fabric, it's best to iron these fabrics before you start marking, especially if it's squeezed as mine. So I've succeeded in doing the shoulder drop for the back piece and the front piece. All right, so what next am I going to do? I'm going to cut this off and cut this off. All right, so we're making progress. Once you take this step I'm showing you, you're going to be making senator wears for people like a pro. So you cut that off, you just follow the line and you go. So we've succeeded in creating a slant that is needed for the dress. Now to find the back neck, I know some people will say you are supposed to mark 1 inch, but sometimes this does not work. It's supposed to come down in length by 1 inch. So what I like to do is this, because if you come down by 1 inch, remember this point here at the midpoint at the back piece is where our shoulder line is, and you may end up having difficulties, or the dress rather will end up having difficulties to relax on the neck or the shoulder area of the dress, of the body rather. So this is what I like to do. So I'll fold these points. This point meets this point. So you're kind of creating your line. You're assuming that you're sewing now. You're closing up this seam here. Okay. So I'm assuming that I'm closing up the seam. So when you fold this towards the front, you bring the back towards the front, assuming you are closing up the seam. You are assuming rather. So with my chalk, I'm going to create the neckline for the back. Now this is a curve, so I'm going to create something like a semicircle. Okay. So what I'll just do is this. You can use your free hand. You can use your armhole curve. So I'm just going to go with my free hand. All right. So I'm going to cut open from here and like this. This is for the neckline. So it's usually best to get this neckline point first. Get it right, then you can continue the rest of the cutting. So if you check now, I have something like a semicircle. Now from this semicircle, I am going to measure. Okay, I'm going to measure. I want to be sure, doubting Thomas like me, I want to be sure if this will give me what I need for my neck line. Now the neck I am working with circumference is 16, and here I have it, 8 plus 8, 16, and this is approximately going to give me 16 when I am done sewing, because by the time you join this point to this point, the seam allowance taken and the rest, you're going to have something close to 16 or 16.5, which is also close to your measurement. So when you're done with this, remember this is your front and this is your back. Warning, a very big warning: don't cut through the whole fabric. You're cutting just the tops, okay? You are not cutting this, no, you are cutting the top. All right, so I'm going to cut through for the neck, so I want you to watch carefully. I repeat, this is warning. This is the only place you're cutting. I'm saying this from experience to avoid premium tears. Yes, I've cried a premium tear before due to this error. So that was when making a senator wear was difficult for me, but not now. So I just follow my semicircle, and all right, you're done cutting the neck line, and that's it. Now if you watch this, you're going to find out that coming down, this is going to stay relaxed. The whole place is going to stay relaxed by the time you're done sewing. Now you can comfortably fold this back to get your shoulder line thing. I'm going to say this: transfer the arm, transfer the shoulder to this. Okay, all right. So guys, when I took my armhole points, you know, -1 that is already here, right? I ended at the exact point without doing my shoulder drop. I did attach the -1 inch for the shoulder drop. Okay, so now my shoulder line has to change. Oh yeah, that should tell you that nobody is above mistake. Okay, so now my shoulder line is at 8 inches. Remember, there is a 1 inch minus here. Okay, so let's just measure from here where it is complete. This point it is complete, so that means my shoulder line has come down to 0.9. all right, okay, I'm almost done. The next thing I'm going to do now is to put my measurements, mark my sides, and cut. So I'm going to put the measurement for the chest. That's the bust. The bust is 35 at 8 3/4. Add extra 1 inch and extra 1 inch for seam allowance. That give me what? 8 3/4 has plus 2 inches. So 8, 9, 10, 10 3/4. So I'm going to mark here. Now I'm going to come down to the waistline. So on the waistline, you're marking the waist measurement plus 1 inch. Okay, so my waist is 28, so that's supposed to give me 7 inches plus 1 inch for ease and 1 inch for the seam allowance. That's supposed to give me total of 9 inches. Now I usually don't follow this rule. What I do is this: whatever I have for the bust, which is 10 3/4, I'm going to bring it down. I'll take note of it. Then I'm going to minus 1 inch from that, or ½ inch from it, depends on the body type of the person. Okay, so for this body type, I think 1 inch is okay for it, so I'm going to make it 9 3/4. Now if I had gone with the normal, which is 7 and extra 2 inches, I'll be ending at 9. This may be too small, okay? So it's better to bring down your bust measurement, then you take out 1 inch or ½ inch from it. All right, because this is not a fitted dress. Now the same thing applies to the hip line. The hemline rather. So at this hemline, you're going to mark your hip divided by 4. The hip divided by 4 is the same 8¾ because the hip is 35, the bust also is 35, and 8¾ the same thing as what I marked up there. So I'm going to be having 10¾ all right. So we're going to still add extra 1 inch for the slit opening of the side. Now for the side slit, it depends on how much opening you want to give to it. All right, so I'm going to be giving mine about, okay, let's check that out. So this is the waistline. So you don't want to expose some part of the stomach, okay? You want to come down after the stomach or where the belt starts for the trouser. So you can come down to about 21 inches to start your slit. All right, so if that is so, that means it's going to be 1 2 3 4 5 inches away from the total length you're going to be working with. So 7 inches away from where the seam allowance starts from. Okay, so I'm just going to mark 7 inches. All right, so at that point where the slit will stop or will start, I'm going to put that hip measurement there. All right, and I'm going to connect from here and connect, oh sorry, okay, it's going to look funny to you, but that's how it should be. Then here becomes the folding for the flap. I marked here, but no need, I'll just cut off since I still have extra. I'll just go with the one I have at the edge there. Oh my, you have not marked the arm. Oh, anyway, this is the right time to do that because we need that measurement. So you want to come in, I'm going to come in by ½ inch. The midpoint is 4. Coming by ½ or 3/4, but these are free dress, ½ is okay. And you are going to link that up. So link it up that way and create a curve this way. I don't know if this tutorial is clear to you because I did it, I don't know if I followed step by step. I did it kind of in a freestyle to tell you that you can do any part of your marking anytime. So it does not have to, you don't have to follow a particular step or so. So now I'm doing armhole as last. Very funny. All right, I think I'm done. The next thing I'm going to do now is to cut. But before cutting, make sure you want to throw the tape on the dress to be sure. All right, you're going to be checking your measurements and to be sure that you are correct. All right, I'm sure I'm correct. So I'll check. I keep checking. Okay, I think I'm done. So I'm going to cut now. So just watch me. So first of all, I'm going to level up this point. Since I want to work with the whole of it, because I have enough fabric. So if you do not have enough fabric, do well to, you can attach this later, okay? So I'm going to go with the flow. All right, so I'm done with that point. So I need to make sure this is well kept. Then I'm cutting the two together, yes. And yes, we're done cutting. So the next thing now is to cut the sleeve. You're going to cut your facing. Depends, you can use your facing for your design, the outer design, and for the back also, if you want to add a touch of beauty to the dress. All right guys, thank you so much for staying with me to the end of this video. I love you all. Bye bye.